The first step is to draw some water in, place it in a vessel that you're going to soak your watercolor paper. This is watercolor paper that I picked up at Michael's. It's about the right size. You can also use larger sheets and cut them down into smaller. But these are about the right size for folding in half and making cards. So our other ingredient is alum. You get this, McCormick makes it, maybe some other people make it, you get it at the supermarket. So you take a little warm water and put it in a pot or in a plastic vessel or something you'd like to soak your paper in. And we take about a teaspoon of alum and we add it to the water. To stir it up. The alum is important because alum draws the color out of whatever substrate it is you're going to dye onto. So we get that mixed up. I also like to add a little vinegar. I'm going to use white wine vinegar, but just clear vinegar is fine. And I just put a little vinegar in there because vinegar also draws the color out of flowers. So from there, we take our watercolor paper and I have quite a few flowers here today, so I'm going to start soaking these papers. Here's 1, 2, just submerge them straight into the water. 3, maybe 1 more. Okay, now our papers have soaked for a half an hour, so they should have plenty of alum and vinegar inside of them. And what I'm using for my steaming process today, that's what we're going to be doing, is steaming these. This is a nice electric fry pan with a glass lid that I got at Goodwill for a couple bucks. I never use it for food, I only use it for echo dyeing, and I find it works great because it's really easy to handle and work with. So I'm going to set this aside for a second. And I'm going to take just a regular tea towel. And now we're going to start building our bundle. And start with a paper. And we're going to fold this in half. And again, the texture doesn't bother me because I like texture in my designs. And we'll start with the mum. Some people remove the stems. I like to leave the stems in. These are going to give you a nice rich color. So I'm going to put it face down. Like this, right inside my paper. And we also have some really nice Alstroemeria, which will give me a different color. And the leaves, we're going to keep those as well. So you can arrange these any way you like. And it doesn't matter if this faces up or down. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes they work better because this one's going to imprint on this side. So we'll fold that over. And now we're going to keep making a stack. Perhaps for our next one, we'll try some of these lily leaves. Put it like this. You can arrange these how you think they might look when you're finished. Or you can just do them hither, pither, whatever you like. Another item to add to your echo dyeing are onion skins. These came straight out of my refrigerator where I keep my onions. And each one of them, paper thin, there's red onion and there's yellow onion skins. These give you a delightful brown imprint. So I like to just kind of break up some onion skins and scatter them in there. And you'll see how this effect works. You don't need a lot because these will really yield a lot of brown. And we'll take another piece of soaked watercolor paper, fold it in half, put this one right on top of that one and begin smashing it down. Open it up, start putting some more in. Here's some some lilac off of my lilac bush. Don't know if it'll work or not. It's not quite old, but let's give it a shot. Again, lilies. I love the stamen. Let's leave that in. Some lavender scattered about. A little bit of green. Try not to have them overlapping too much. Some onion skin. Some alstroemeria. And maybe a little chrysanthemum as well. Sprinkling some onion skins. Fold. See if you can keep things kind of placed where they are. They're gonna move on you, but that's okay. And give it a press. Another sheet. I'm going to come back here again with some, this one's quite gone, but he's still going to give you a beautiful effect. This is what I love about this is even in their death, if you will, they're giving off beauty. Some onion skin. Another piece of paper, fold it in half, put it on the stack, smash it down. Don't worry that the paper is soaking wet, that's fine. My Savannah is howling now because I've sequestered her to the porch. I don't know if this lilac is going to work or not, but I'm going to sure give it a shot. Another chrysanthemum, and I try to double them over a little bit, but they will, once you fold them, they really get smashed. Fold it over, smash it down, making a sandwich. Another one. You can also just kind of get rid of the stems if you don't want the stems. Have just flowers. Some people like that look. There's a leftover. Honestly, I love dried flowers. I think they're so pretty. And the leaves, the impressions, you're going to be amazed. And our last piece of paper. Folding it. Setting it on top. Adding in the alstroemeria. I'm going to break this one apart for a different look. Mixing in some onion skins for a little color. Now I got a black one in the mix. Oh, you can't leave, you can't win. Fold it over, smash it down. And my last one. So I might have needed to do more papers. One of these, one of these. So we'll try this batch to see how it works. In fact, we can do an interesting experiment here. Again, nothing's lost. I save all of this. I'm going to take a piece of watercolor paper that hasn't been soaked in alum, just to see if we have any difference, because it's all going to get wet. So maybe we'll get brighter colors on the ones that are on the inside of the stack. Put this one here. I've got a couple asters to go and I'm done. Not asters, sorry, chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemums, tendrils. Look at these great looking things. These are just lovely. Let's put them in there. Okay. All right. And our final one will be, I guess we'll go with some green. Maybe one of these, we'll share this up. And some more green inside of here. That'll be interesting. Now, okay. You know, cats are very artistic too. They make lovely little messes all over the place that can be construed as kitty art, I'm sure. So again, some, you know, a little more of the onion skin. Now, I like to take a tile. These are a couple tiles, I think they're 4x4s. You can go bigger, but you put a tile, the shiny part, here on the top of your sandwich. And then we take a shiny part, and you can see where I've done some dyeing in the past, sandwich on the bottom. So look at that, it's a big flower sandwich, okay? Dropping everything in there like that. And this is a piece of canvas that I have soaked in rusty water. Rust is something that will add more definition to our stack. So I like to wrap my entire bundle in my piece of canvas that has been soaked in rusty water and used several times. So we end up with something that looks like this. That's our bundle. I have a bag of rubber bands that I got at the store. I'm going to pull out a generous amount of rubber bands. Smashing this down real good. Wrapping it. Securing it with rubber bands. Some people like to use clamps, which are great. If you have the kind of strength to be able to work with clamps, that's great. My hands are a little arthritic, so it's kind of hard for me to press those clamps sometimes. But your goal here is to get this bundle as tight as possible. And smashing it down as hard as you can as you're wrapping the rubber bands on it. You want it really compressed. The tighter, the better. Don't worry about these end pieces sticking out. They're going to get wet and they're going to get flimsy, but it's okay. Because we're going to press them when we're all done. Sometimes I stand on it for a couple seconds just to smash it down. So that was way too much weight for it, I can guarantee you that. All right, so I'll put a couple more rubber bands on here, just to make sure it's good and tight. All right, that's my bundle. And you can wrap it with twine too, if you like. Now the same alum water that we soaked our papers in with a little bit of vinegar, I have a couple rocks from out of the garden. I'll set them down because I'm going to place my bundle right there so that it's in the water and it's getting wet, but it's elevated and it's not lying absolutely flat onto the pan. Because our goal is to steam this. It's okay if it gets really wet. We want everything to get very wet. Right? So we soak it a little bit, and now we're going to steam this with the lid on. Oop, crooked. For an hour. So let's get it steamed and see what we got. Let's check on how our bundle is steaming. It looks like it's up to a really rolling boil. Again, very careful because it's hot. You can see our bundle is in there, and sometimes I like to flip it so that some of the other side can get... Ooh. I can already see where the colors are starting to come through. I can't wait to see what happens with the rocks will move around a little bit on you, but that's okay. I can't wait to see what happens with the lily leaves. I've never done those before. And it's okay if this gets soaking wet. I'm going to let it soak all the way down in. Just be very careful handling because it is hot. Some people like to do this outside rather than inside because of the fumes. I don't have a problem with it. Oh, and if you begin to see where you're running out of water because it's been steaming for well over an hour, just add a little vinegar water back into your bath slowly in order to continue to keep the boil rolling. We're getting color already. It's only really been about 40 minutes. Okay. Okay, so now it's time for the big reveal. And we've gotten our bundle out of the bath, and it's very, very hot because I just took it out of the steamy, but I can't wait to see what's in here. The rubber bands are cheap, so I'm just going to give them a cut. You can still see the steam coming off of it. I'll move this closer to you so you can see it as best you can. I just can't believe it. Here you can see, this was our mum. And here is our first one, straight out of the gate. So let's take a look at more from the bundle. Oh, it's exquisite. A little hot to touch. But with this art, I can't wait to see it. Look at the lovely detail of the mum and the intricate watercolor backgrounding. I'm trying to find some of the Alstroemeria. That's on the inside. Look, it's just lovely. You may need to let these dry a little bit before you lift them, but there's just so much fun to see what you've gotten. Look at the detail in that. Isn't it lovely? So now we're back and we can see what we've got finished from out of the dye bath. Our lovely cards. Look at the detail. You can see the crisp edges from the purple mums. I'm still pulling a few of the onion skins off. As they dry, they become a little easier to pull off. But you can see the detail in the design of our eco-dyed cards.